Hey there, YouTube. We're going to do some work on the D110. We're going to throw some parts at it, make it better. What's up there, YouTube? So, if you've been following along on my videos here, you've watched me build this D110 from RC4wd Drive, and you'll know that the major fault that I've had with it were the stock RC4wd Drive dual spring rate shocks, and they just really couldn't handle the weight of the body, the roof rack, and the custom interior, and they don't hold oil worth a flip. So, one of the later videos I did install just some standard axial SCX10 kit shocks, which are available on eBay for $15, $17, and they work. They work pretty well. I've got them cranked up so it's a little lower in the back, but it's nice and soft. And this thing really looks scale crawling. It really has a nice feel to it. It looks very scale as it's going over the rocks. So, this being one of my nicer kits, I did go ahead and spring big bucks for some of the King shocks, the 90 millimeters. I bought these on eBay. I think I got shipped the set of 4 for around 78 bucks, somewhere around that. And that's just, they're so expensive. There ain't no way around it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. RC4wd Drive stuff's expensive. We all know that. That's why I love those axial shocks, because they work, and they're just dirt cheap. They're plastic. They're simple. Can't go wrong with those. But I don't know. Not being a snob, but this truck I want the best for. Kind of like the Cruiser, I really want just the best for. But the stock RC4wd Drive shocks are working well on the Cruiser, so I'm not going to mess with it. But this truck needs a little more support, so we're going to give these King shocks a chance. And, fresh from China, I've got the forward roof guard and windshield guard. I don't know what exactly you call that. Now they sell this on eBay, and you can get it from RC4wd Drive, and several other people hand make their own, and there's a lot of these out there. And you can get the full rack, just the front half, the windshield. You can do side mount. I mean, there's a lot of variations. But I bought this from China on eBay for $13 shipped, and it took it nearly 4 weeks to get here, and it ain't bad. I mean, the RC4wd Drive one like this is around somewhere around $40–50 range. So, met that in a quarter of the price. It doesn't line up quite right in the front. You can see I've already modded it a little bit. I've cut the mounts back to clear the hood, and they still don't sit flush, so I'm going to have to shim the screws when we do that. I have already drilled the screw holes in the top to get it to fit right, and I've bent and rearranged the mounting tabs to fit the body. They weren't perfect, and from, if you've ever bought a bunch of stuff from RC4wd Drive, you know their stuff's not perfect either, and stuff like that. It's kind of custom fit. And for $13, I took some needle nose pliers and bent and cut and did a little modding to make it work. So we're going to install that and these King 90 millimeter shocks and see if that'll help improve the suspension. Well, the roof rack ain't going to do that for suspension, but see if the shocks help the suspension, because these axial shocks, the springs are way too soft. You can see that thing just flopping around. It looks good crawling, but it just needs a little more control, a little more fine-tuned. These are dual rate. You get 2 springs, different spring rates. They're fully threaded, or almost fully threaded. Then these aren't, the 90 millimeters don't come with the faux reservoir. And that's honestly the way the mounts are on the D110 chassis. You can't really fit those. You got to shim the bolt out to get the shock away from the chassis to be able to clear the extended external reservoir. Like these, you can see I had to put, that's about a 5 millimeter and a tapered 2 or 3 millimeter spacer on there. And that's what I had on the Trail Finder 2 on the front. They were too short, or too long, I'm sorry, to work, but that's what I have on the D110 here right now. So no external reservoir, and hopefully they fit good. Well, hopefully they perform good, at least as good as the cheap $17 axial shocks. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing those, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm putting the King shocks on, and I wanted to share here. As you can see, they are the same size as the axial shocks. They do have less travel than the axial shocks. So hopefully that doesn't turn out to be a problem. You can see here next to the stock shock, they are a little bit longer. They say they're the same size. They say these will work with the D110 and the D110s and the cruisers and everything, but they are a little bit taller. But I found with the axial shocks that it does look good with the body. Everything sets up at just the right height. A little bit bigger diameter. I did crank them down a little bit. We'll see how that works. I'm putting the front on right now. You can see the stock shocks. I cranked up pretty high because they don't work worth a flip. No fluid left in there at all. These feel like they got fluid. I don't know if they actually do or not. I'm gonna run them as they are straight out of the package to start with, and if there's any issues, then we will add or check the fluid and add fluid as needed. The only fluid that I have is a 10 weight axial shock fluid, and that seems to work pretty well with everything I've done so far. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I did also want to show the wear and tear on my D110 axles here. I'm going to have to move the camera, so bear with me. Let me zoom in, maybe. I've only driven this, well hell, there we go. I've only driven this on the videos that I have posted. I have not driven this a whole bunch, and you can see the amount of wear that is happening. Some of the screws on the diff cover, oh sorry, on the outdrive on the back are wearing down. Got some decent scratches on the bars on the back. And these plastic drive shafts are holding up great. They broke instantly on the cruiser when I drove it, but on the D110, I don't know, different setup, different electronics, everything's working well. You can see they are kind of torqued. You can see the spiral, they're starting to bend, but so far so good. I'm not going to change them until they break. The rear diff, if I can get this thing to focus. Scratched up pretty good. I mean, this has only been driven a handful of times. So the finish that's on these is not the most durable. I'll show you the front of that one a little bit better. So what you're going to end up with. These are the nice D110 axles. Much better steering. I do have it disconnected to help ease the shock installation. But yeah, these are, I do like the D110s much better than the D1, the regular D110 axles. This is a rear off a bruiser, but you can just see the diameter of the actual shafts is different. Oh, come on, camera. They look much more scale. The D110s are almost short of the diff housing. They're the same as the K44s, and you can buy a set of D110 axles for $140, and those K44s are $150 a piece. So little quick tip there. I wouldn't waste the money. The K44s are awesome looking. There's no denying that. But I ain't paying that much. I'm not paying almost more than double for an axle, and I can buy a set of the Yoda 2s for 140 bucks. That just doesn't seem worth it. You can't justify it to me. The Yoda 2s improve on the steering. The C-hubs are much tighter than the Yoda 1s. I have no reason to buy a K44 over a Yoda 2. There's just no... It's neat looking, but it ain't worth double the price. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the shock install and then we'll come back. Alright, so got the shocks on, and either they suck as bad as the original factory shocks or they just don't have any fluid in them. They're real floppy. It doesn't rebound evenly. If it sets for a little bit, they stick. Wants to lean. So I guess I've got some shock oil. I'm going to take one out and have a look at it, see if it'll hold oil. If it's got the same gaskets as the stock RC4wd drive shocks, then I'm not even going to mess with it because it ain't going to hold. If it's got a little bit more robust looking O-rings in it, then I might try to add some shock oil I've got. If it doesn't have better O-rings, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to package them back up and get rid of them, or if I might want to try putting some grease in them. Just something to dampen it, because that's the point. It's a dampener. It's not just a fancy aluminum spring holder like RC4 Drive seems to think. So, go ahead and take it all back apart and we'll look at it and see what we can do. Alright, I got the top of the King shock off, and disappointed to find, come on now, same O-ring as their other shocks. So I'm afraid it's not going to hold oil. It has some in it, very little. That's how it came. I don't know if it had more and leaked out or what, but I guess we'll try putting some in it and we'll go from there. Alright, so I've got the shocks filled with oil and got the battery charging so we can go test drive it. Now I need to look at this roof rack. I've already drilled holes for the back mounts. The front ones are going to be tricky because I can't get a drill straight into there. It's the hood. I don't want to drill in at an angle. I can't get in it from the inside either, so I'm not sure what how to go about that. So let me do some brainstorming here and we'll see if we can figure out something. Alright, got it all mounted. Wasn't too bad. I used some of the tiny little hardware from some RC4wd Drive beadlocks, and I'd already had these drilled. It was lined up pretty good. It's not perfectly square. I mean, it's off a little bit, but I got it on there as straight as I could. This screw is actually lower than this screw, but it sets level. So it's on there. You see, I just screwed it up there into the firewall. I think it looks pretty cool. I don't know about the whole roof rack and stuff. I mean, they want over $100 for that from RC4wd Drive. The additional rack to go over everything. I don't have that kind of money for that kind of stuff. So for now, that's what I have to do. I'm just keep the Proline roof rack. But I'm going to go ahead and put the interior back in. And we'll let the battery finish charging and we'll get outside and try these new shocks out. Hopefully they hold their oil. It'll take days before we find out that, but I'll be right back. Well, that's my review on the RC4wd King shocks. I say save your money. Stick with the basics. These axial shocks worked a lot better. They have a lot more what's the word? They're just a lot smoother. These are still very springy. Even with, I put 30 weight shock fluid in them, and it just, this thing, when you go forward it does that, you go reverse it does that. Get up on the slightest incline and that body just flops over to the side. You see I dumped it over a few times. Didn't happen with these, but once I think during the whole setup and stuff that I was doing with it. So not real happy with that. Those shocks are $39 a pair, and it just, yeah, doesn't seem worth it. They might work better on some different applications, but on this they don't work any better than the stock shocks that come with the truck. And I put fluid in them. We'll see if it leaks out. They look like they're holding better than the kit shocks, but they still don't work any better. And I lost a screw on my driver's side, or my right side C-hub here on top, so my steering's all out of whack. I have to go through everything and check all the bolts to make sure they're tight again. That was a bit disappointing. I mean, you'd think for what those cost they would be a lot better quality. So, well, we'll go back to the cheap shocks that work, and hopefully we can have some more fun with this truck. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned. There'll be more videos coming. Thank you.